Back in 2018 and 19, I guess all of us have watched a particular kind of ad that at least once. RPG games were once guessed to be a sultan or czar or king, and the ads were animated nicely and involved some soap opera-esque drama and choice-based gameplay. By 2021, these ads were on a decline, and a very popular game, the Game of Sultans, was actually taken down from the Play Store. Now, there were reasons for their decline, valid reasons. The advertisements were all fake advertisement. The gameplay never involved such in advanced form of animation. The little amount of animation that was involved in the game was not the little amount of animation shown in the game was not at all at par with the ones shown in the advertisement. It was a pretty basic game which involved some stats which could be spent in forms of ministers and consorts and generals, etc., and leveling up the palace and the emperor, after which the player gets to compete with other players around the world, and they get to be declared, if lucky, the first, and they get titles like eternal emperor or something. It was not a very exciting one, but it was not a very boring one either. What made everyone disappointed in the game was the disparity in the advertisement and the actual gameplay. Now, what I want to talk about really is some interesting things about this game. At first, the ads were directed towards men, straight men. The Sultan shown would always be a man, and the concerns always women. The characters deemed desirable were all light skinned. This involved, of course, the Sultan himself and the consorts and all the ministers. Here, we must keep the aspect of colorism in mind, as all of these games were made in South Asia. But later on, the game developers noticed something else. The primary consumers or the primary gamers of this game actually became women, straight women mostly. And now the game developers actually started advertising towards women and marketing towards women. The changes were very gradual actually. In the end, it was a weird mix of a game made primarily keeping women in mind, but at the same time a, showed a garden variety sexism. The gradual change can be illustrated through an example. Consider the game Call Me Emperor. At first, when they introduced the male concerts, there used to be very few of them. Only a few female concerts can be reincarnated in their male forms. The option of a female emperor as a counter choice was also introduced much later in the gameplay. And to this day, no counter choice of a non binary emperor is available in the whole gameplay. But later on, all concerts designed for male form was available. If you check the FB group of this game, the newly introduced character design of concerts are mostly male, as they are now aimed towards straight women nowadays. Most prominent change that can be noticed is in the advertisement style. This change gradually happened in the late 2019 or perhaps the early 2020, because nowadays they don't show the ads anymore. At first, the ads were used to be distinctly from the male emperor's perspective. The later ads projected the player as a maid who aspires to be the queen. In those ads, the main appeal of the game was shown as choice based palace intrigues. Nothing of this was actually replicated in the game, of course, hence the very limited shelf life and popularity of the games. Later on, the ads depicted female consorts becoming sultans, and after that, female sultans by default, as opposed to male ones in the beginning. It was an interesting change for sure. About the garden variety sexism, even now, it does not include old women as a character. None of the characters involved old women or undesirable looking women. If you consider ministers, the male female ratio is extremely skewed. Thus, this game, as many of our pop culture media, tries to be marketed towards women, but at the same time tries to appeal to a much larger audience, or what they think, what much larger audience thinks like, as they keeps on hammering on the status quo and sexist messages, thus giving rise to the weird gender dynamics in an monarchy based RPG game. That's all for today. Meet you again someday later.